Good morning, YouTube. This morning in the garage, we got a little bit of a mishmash. In German, I'm German by name, if you couldn't tell by the name Weinland. We got a concept called being umsichtig und gewandt, which means look around and be helpful or get stuff done. While I'm waiting for the front clam to be done, to be painted. It's been a couple weeks now. I got a number of sort of little tasks that I'm going to be taking care of to just try and stay on top of stuff while I'm waiting. So what's that going to look like? It's going to look like cleaning up the garage some. It's going to look like cleaning up the headlights that I took out of the old clam. It's going to look like preparing the old clam to be sold or thrown away. We'll see what we wind up doing with that. Looks like all sorts of things. So just a bunch of small tasks this morning, and we'll see what we can't get done for the Saturday morning. All right. So those two connectors came off of the back here. And we're going to do this connector here. So when you're getting this connector out, you have to push the whole grommet that's around here through the hole. And then the wires will fit through. So the grommet stays where it is. You just have to push it through. It stays where it is on the wire. You just have to push it through. One wiring connector out. Okay, so on the passenger side, same thing. These wires here get disconnected. This one routes through in there and gets disconnected. And then we've got one up front here. Okay, so in case you want to see how to get this headlight out here, that light bulb anyway, there's these metal clips that go into this little section. I'll use my screwdriver here. They go into this section right there. That's where they go. That's where the clip goes. And you can fish them out, and then that releases the bulb. So the key is to squeeze this part of the connector to release it, not to squeeze these together, but to squeeze that part. You guys stay right there, okay? I'm washing out here. Alright, so I'm in the process of using my Meguiar's Ultimate Iron Remover. You can see it on there, nothing's turning purple. I thought it was supposed to turn purple, but maybe there just isn't a lot of iron in the paint. I've already done this side, and you can tell it looks a lot, the door at least looks a lot better. I think this panel might have been repainted another time before, but this one looks okay over here, and it's on dwell time right now, and I'm going to wash it off. Hey, so I'm trying to do paint correction on the car, and across the car, around the car, I've got these spots on the car, and when I feel it, it feels raised, actually. So what I think has happened is that the car hit drywall while it was flooded or floating around somewhere, because when I use a plastic scraper, when I use my thumb anyway, these parts come off a little bit. So I'm going to scrape these off and see if I can get them to come down. Okay, I have never polished a car before in my life with a random orbital sander. I'm going to use some cutting compound to get some of these scratches off. You can see those there. I think it's actually pretty interesting because I think that what these are is when the water and the sand and stuff was running over the car, it made those scratches. Is what I think was going on. These might be scratches from sticks and whatnot that rubbed up against it. So these are the scratches I'm going to be trying to get out with my small orbital sander. I got the small one because I think these surfaces are pretty small. I've already clay barred the car. That was an amazing experience, actually. If you've never clay barred a car before, it goes from being sort of a rough to being completely smooth, which is kind of cool. And no scratches I'm going to try to get out too. So I've got some, let's see. I'm going to use this Griot's Garage complete compound. Shake it up. I'm going to use the orange cutting pad, and I'm just going to try to do this back section here first. We'll see how it goes. So here's the after with the polish. You can still see a couple of marks, I guess, but it does look, I think, significantly better. I'll be able to tell once I get out into the sunlight a little bit more, but yeah, overall, I'm pretty impressed. Never polished a car before like that, so I guess I can still see some of the marks. Might need a little bit more time here, but pretty cool. Pretty cool how that works. Nice and shiny. All right. I think I got some of the cool marks. Well, here it is. The clamshell is finally ready. I got it from the paint shop just now. Color looks perfect, at least not on the car. Color looks amazing. And I'm really excited about getting this finally up and on, and then we'll get it up in the car. Really looks amazing. I think I did a great job with the color match. This is the bottom. All right, so while we've got these little grill parts off, we're gonna use some Meguiar's Ultimate Black. And get these looking real nice. bolts. And those bolts. Get down here.
There we go.
Yeah. I think that's it.
Huh.
Here it is. Now, bolts.
A lot of connectors.
A whole lot of connectors. Not too many.
Don't forget any.
Yeah, try not to. A bunch of,
I mean, maybe the ones laying on the ground are first.
yeah. I think that's it, baby.
That looks like starting to move like a car.
Looks like a car. It looks kind of like a car. That's good. That's good. That bolt lines up. This connector comes through here.
Did it?
You did it with me. Well, here it is. All done. Mostly. Got a couple touch-up spots for paint. But it's clean. Looks sharp. I'm going to go and take it for a spin and take it up to the gas station, fill it up. Oh, gotta clear it with the DMV first. Alright guys, let's go to the gas station. Okay, so it's psychology segment time for this video, and what I'd like to talk about this time is waiting, right? Waiting, like I waited for the clamshell for a long time for this car. Waiting sounds passive, but psychologically it's actually a really active process. So for the last 4 weeks or so, the front clamshell was at the paint shop. It was getting worked on. And most of the time that it was there was nothing useful that I could do. I couldn't bolt it on. I couldn't check panel gaps. I couldn't do anything. I just had to wait for it. And that's where the mind really gets busy. When we're waiting on uncertain news, things like, a medical result, maybe a repair estimate, a job decision, or whether or not a painted Lotus clamshell is going to come back looking right, the brain starts to confuse uncertainty with danger, and it's a very natural process. We're just trying to keep ourselves safe. The mind says, since I don't know what's happening, I should probably prepare for something bad to happen. That instinct is protective, but what it does is it turns just regular waiting time into suffering, and that's something that we want to avoid, right? Productive preparation when you're waiting sounds like, what will I do if this clamshell needs adjustment? or what will I do if I need to, pick it up or something like that. Mental rehearsal of negative things sounds like, what if it's ruined? What if I wasted the money? What if the whole project goes sideways? That's not helpful during waiting. The first kind, when we talk about productive preparation, that gives you a plan. The second one makes you live through a bad outcome before it's even happened, and that's not useful. So while I was waiting, the practice wasn't necessarily pretending I didn't care about what was going on. I definitely cared a lot. The practice was noticing when my mind started writing the ending before the part was even back in my hands, right? So in this episode, the waiting ended. Now I got to see what was real, what was active, not what my anxiety predicted and not what my imagination rehearsed, but what was actually in front of me. And so that's what's useful. So waiting better doesn't mean waiting calmly. It means not letting uncertainty make decisions before reality even gets a vote, right? So that's the psychology snippet for tonight. Hopefully you guys learned something out of this episode, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks so much for watching. Please like and subscribe and share with your friends, and we'll see what's coming up next. I got some surprises, definitely, and eventually I'm going to have to find another car to work on. We'll see what happens.
It's been a long week trying to make it.